Life's most significant achievements often emerge from the depths of adversity. Everything is hard before it becomes easy. This is episode 39 of Stuck on Sawdust. Rock stars, welcome to the shop. If you're new here, my name's Daniel with Bearded Viking Woodworks. Today's video is sponsored by nobody. Today, we're diving back into some more woodworking smalls that sell. Starting off with this beer caddy slash wine caddy. We're putting another spin on this thing. Nice shot. So you're not going to want to miss out. Stay tuned and meet me at the table saw. So, first things first, we got to get the stock we want to use cut down to dimensions. Well, really, first we should let's clean up our work area, huh? Okie dokie, let's try this again. And we're back. So what I've got here is I got 2 pieces of mahogany left over from that planter box build I did the other day. Wonderful piece of Claro walnut and this beautiful quilted maple from Northwest Timber Company. They're probably my favorite lumber company to purchase from online, and I'll leave a link in the description so you can find them. So let's take a look at a rough SketchUp that we have of the caddy I'm looking to build. We got 10 inches across the bottom in length. The width is going to be at 7.5 inches, and the height is going to be around 9 inches in height. So we're completely spinning this wine caddy and making it bigger and better. So the first steps that we'll take is getting our stock cut down to the right height at the miter box. So let's meet over there. For now, we'll cut everything at 10 inches in length. You should really consider making small woodworking projects. Not only are they lucrative, but you can showcase your craftsmanship, express your creativity, and potentially generate a massive income. And plus, crafting small projects can be a rewarding hobby that provides a sense of accomplishment and fulfillment. What started off as a simple hobby for me has turned into a lucrative business, plus a YouTube channel creating content for others like y'all. So now that we've got our lengths cut to size, let's head over to the joiner and get the faces cleaned up and the edges cleaned up, and we'll rip everything to the final dimensions. So say you don't have a jointer or a planer. No biggie. You can order material S4S, which is surfaced 4 sides, which comes pretty square. Now, the good thing about smalls or small woodworking projects is most of the time you don't have to have S4S material. Or even you can make these out of pallet wood. That's the beauty of the smalls. Right then, we're going to take our quilted maple and we're going to rip 2 pieces at 5 1/4. Once we do that, we'll take and rip those directly in half, and we're going to wind up gluing a piece of the walnut in between 2 pieces of the maple, and I'll demonstrate that in just a minute. You gotta turn it on, jackass. So now we'll take and mark center, which is going to be 2 5/8. And we'll cut these 2 pieces directly in half. So our next step, we're going to take and rip 2 pieces of walnut at 2 3/8, and that will give us our 7.5 inch width we're looking for. So what we want to do next is take and rip each of our pieces that we just cut to 1/2 inch. My material was a little too thin to get 2 out of 1, which I'm a little disappointed about, but we'll be able to use the cutoff on a different project, so I'm not too concerned about it. Meet me at the bandsaw. Well, I thought my Resaw blade came in for the bandsaw, but I was mistaken. It was something totally different. But that's no biggie. We can go ahead and resaw these in half right here at our table saw. And we're going to be resawing them to 1/2 inch. Ever since receiving this bandsaw, I've been dying to resaw something in half, but the time will come. Alright, so here I've got all my pieces set in my clamps. And I'm going to glue these in 3s, being sure not to add glue to this side here or this side, gluing everything together. So we're going to add a dab of glue, 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 add a dab of glue. And we'll go ahead and clamp these together, but you don't want to apply too much pressure, just enough to where you get some tight, nice joints. Oh, wow. That grain is popping. You may want to add a caul across the top just to hold your pieces all the way flat. But I think we'll be good. So we'll set this to the side, let this dry up, and I'll meet y'all back here in just a bit. So while our panels are drying, we're going to go ahead and resaw our mahogany. We're going to be resawing it to 1/4 inch. And this will be for our front pieces that hold everything in place. Okay gang, so I avoided a catastrophic mistake with my panels. I should have added cauls to begin with. So for future reference, just add the damn cauls, okay? Ugh. While taking lunch, letting the panels finish drying, a buddy of mine emailed me pictures of these wine caddies online and how much they're going for and how many are selling right now. These things are super hot, and I'm super excited that I'm not the only one who notices. All right, our panels are dry. So we'll just take them out of the clamps. Oh yeah, that worked out great. I am so glad I added the cauls. Man, so I'm just following my buddy up, and yeah, these things are going quick online. Holy cow. So, according to the drawings that I have drawn up, it looks like we come up 5 inches from the bottom of our sides here. So we're going to pull up 5 inches. And from that 5 inch mark, we're going to come in and give it some shape, bringing it up to our walnut here. And then we'll kind of swoop back to where our walnut will be rounded up at the top. So we'll be cutting out something that looks like this. On both sides. So meet me at the bandsaw. Finally! The beautiful thing about this project is you don't have to have a bandsaw to make this cut. You can use a jigsaw or a scroll saw. There are a number of ways to achieve this cut. Before we move on to the next step, I'm gonna go ahead and get all of my panel sanded down to 150. So I cut down these couple little pieces here. They're a 1/4 inch thick by 1/4 inch wide, and I'm just gonna glue them to the very bottom of my panels, adding some CA glue with some activator to help speed the process up and act as a temporary clamp. And this will hold in the bottom panel that I put in. And add a dab of glue. Now for our slats that go across the front and the back, we're going to cut them each 10 inches. Now what we're going to do is take and add some CA glue and some regular wood glue to our very edge here on our slat that goes across the front. And I'm going to wind up coming back when the glue is dry and adding this brass dowel. But first we'll get it glued in place, making sure we're flush to the very edge and the bottom. And then we'll do the next side the same way. Add a dab of glue. And for our next side, we'll get 2 clamps ready. We'll get one side lined up where we need it. And then we'll do the next side immediately after we get this side. We'll let the bottom completely dry before we do anything else. It does not hurt to check for square. Now, I've got this beautiful walnut sent from Northwest Timber that I'm going to use for the bottom panel. So I'll go ahead and get this cut down to size. So we'll cut it to 9 inches and rip it to 7.5. And that is beautiful. Nice, elegant look. So we'll get it clamped back in place. Let it dry up, and I'll meet you back here as soon as it's dry. Now we'll go ahead and glue on our top pieces, and we're going to come down 1/4 inch from our little swoops that we made on either side, making sure we're nice and flush to both sides. So initially, I was going to use some 1/4 inch dowels that were brass. However, I've got these cool looking panel nails that I think will give this more of a rustic look while keeping it modern at the same time. I'm going to add 2 in each slat. So I'll come up 3/8 of an inch from the bottom on the top one, going center of my panel. And then for the bottom, since it's a little bit wider, I'm going to go 1/2 inch from the bottom and 1/2 inch from the top center of the panel. So I'm going to take a 1/16 inch bit, and what I've got are these panel nails, and I think these will give it more of a rustic look and keep it elegant at the same time rather than doing brass dowels. I just think that's a little overkill for this. And we drilled down just enough to where we can get a good 1/4 inch bite, because the glue is going to do the majority of the holding here. I like it. I like it a lot. Now, for the handle, what I've done here is I've just drawn up a little template that I think I'm gonna like. So we're going to cut this out at the bandsaw and give it a dry fit. And if it looks good, we'll use our actual piece of mahogany and make this handle. All right, so that's cut. I think that's going to give it a cool look. So we'll go ahead and get this traced out on our actual handle, and we'll get this cut out. All right, so unfortunately, my mahogany was not tall enough, so I'm actually going to make it out of a piece of quilted maple, and I actually think that's going to look a lot better. So we'll just go ahead and get this ripped down to the same size that our template is, and mark it out, and get it cut down, traced out, and I'll see you back at the bandsaw. Alright, so there's our rough shape. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to dado out the slots for my actual side pieces at the table saw. So we'll knock that out right here. Alright, so meet me at the bandsaw. We're actually going to take a quick detour over to the miter box because I just had an idea. We're going to put a taper on the very end over here and on this opposite end, and I'll show you what I'm talking about right now. So I'm just going to put a 5-degree taper going back towards itself from this point here, and same thing on this side. And I think that is going to add a superb flair to this piece. Now, meet me at the bandsaw. Anytime when cutting shapes that are super curved, I always make relief cuts, whether it's with a jigsaw, a scroll saw, or in this case, my Grizzly bandsaw. This handle is going to turn out crazy cool. Alright, so we got this all cut and fit. Oh yeah, I'm glad we added that taper to it. I'm going to go ahead and get this sanded down to 150 and get the saw marks off of it. Before we glue it in though, I got to add a couple of interior trays to hold the corkscrew and some corks, and we'll have this piece finished up. Alright, remember those pieces that were left over after we resawed our maple? Well, we're going to make our tray out of that, and I'm going to cut it inside to inside on all 3 pieces. So it'll basically sit in here like this, and I'll drill 3 3/4-inch holes. That way it can hold some corks and the corkscrew. And this tray is going to be 2 5/8 wide, and then that'll leave us with enough room at 3 7/8 on either side. And a wine glass is typically, I think the standard is 3 3/4 in diameter, so that is perfect. That way it doesn't have much movement. Let's go ahead and make our tray, get it glued in, get our holes drilled, and we'll carry on. And we're just going to glue this together. And we'll add a dab of glue. So we'll let that tray completely dry before we drill our holes, and then we'll drill the holes and remove our bottom, and then glue the tray to the actual bottom of this. So we'll get the bottom of our wine caddy laid out for the tray. So we'll just center the tray and we're going to use a 3/4-inch Forstner bit to drill out our holes for the tray. at 1.5 inches. And then one at the center. So I've got this sanded down and the holes drilled out. Damn geese. We'll go ahead and add a dab of glue and get this glued to the bottom. So we'll let this wood glue completely dry, and then we'll glue in the actual bottom. And once we get the bottom glued in, we'll glue in the handle, put some finish on this bad boy, and we'll upload this video. Well, I almost forgot. I need to install my bottle opener. You can find these on Amazon for pretty well priced. So let's go ahead and get our bottle opener laid out where we want it. I'm going to pull down from the top 2 inches. Golly. So we'll line up our... Jesus. We'll take and trace out our bottle opener diameter here. And I'm going to take my router and just route out about 1/4 inch deep and go right around the perimeter about 1/4 inch in from the outside. That way we have the opening we need to get our bottle in the bottle opener. And I'm just using a 3/4 inch straight bit, and we'll get this routed out. And that is perfect. Alright, so I gave everything one last sand, and I've got the bottom glued in. And we're going to go ahead and install our handle and slap some finish on this bad boy. We'll let this glue dry, clean up this squeeze out, and I'll meet you back here to slap some shellac on this bad boy and bring this project to life. Yeah, sure. God. All right, let's do this. Right, we'll take and get our bottle opener reinstalled, and this thing's finished, guys. Whew. Wow. Rock stars. I really hope y'all enjoyed this video. I'm going to be posting this thing on my Etsy for $95. I think that's more than fair. It's got the quilted maple, curly claro walnut, genuine mahogany, and this thing is super badass. I absolutely love it, and I'm going to be making a shit ton of these. I did the research, and these are selling super quick, especially now that it's spring and people like to go out to the park, like to go on the boat, or wherever they may be going to have a good time. So, I hope you can draw some inspiration from this video and this project and put your own spin on it. Until next time, get in your shop and make some sawdust. Thanks, guys.